plenty of things that I did not like about the Biden administration. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't go topless in the streets with all of my obese friends. Now, unfortunately for us, the same thing cannot be said for Antifa and all of the left-wing activists in Portland this weekend. And guys, if I had to see the videos, so do you. Now, before we dive into this story, and make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our channel if you've not already. And as a reminder, we have a new show schedule. So starting today, it is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So make sure you ring that notification bell and set your reminders. I've seen some comments and had people ask like, Brett, what do you mean you just had a baby like a month ago? Why are you doing 4 episodes? Guys, I am so excited to get back to this. I am so excited to do more of this. And granted, you know, the baby is napping right now. He is having uninterrupted time with his grandma, which he is very, very excited about. But I am so blessed to genuinely love what I do and love you guys. And it was something that I was so excited to get back to. And it's something that I can literally do in the room next door. And so I'm so excited. And I had the opportunity to up the number of episodes that I was doing. And so I took the opportunity. Anyway, I am super excited. So yeah, make sure that you hit that notification bell. All right, let's dive into this because I saw an absolutely insane sitcom-worthy headline this morning. Like, genuinely, I feel like I go back and forth between what sitcom I believe we're living in. Sometimes I think it's, you know, Parks and Rec when it's a little bit more wholesome. Sometimes I think it's Veep. There are some times, though, when I genuinely feel like we are living in Arrested Development. Something that is so asinine, so crazy, and that is what is happening in Portland right now. So, this headline is from Fox 12 Portland, and it reads, latest updates. Portlanders rally for and against ICE after quote-unquote emergency naked bike ride. Did you ever think you would hear those words? Emergency naked bike ride? No! I don't think I ever want to read them again. I really don't want to know what that means. That's a lie. I obviously want to know what that means. And I logged onto Twitter, and don't worry, the videos were there. So, my friends, avert your eyes or not, but here are the naked bike riders rolling into Portland to protest ICE. Scooters as well. I mean, it's like horrifying. Oh my God, it's like... Genuinely, every clip is worse than the one before. Like when the person right in front of the camera decides to dismount his bike, his parka raises up and you're like, oh my God, you have nothing underneath you. The people just strolling by on the scooters, everything hanging out. Like genuinely, what do you think you are doing? Anyway, they all flocked to Portland to do this protest. Apparently this is a thing. By the way, there is a yearly naked bike ride protest for the climate. Apparently, that has been going on since 2000, but this year it's happening in Portland, or all of the people came to Portland and they are directing their protesting towards ICE instead of the climate. I don't even know what's going on, but they did not just roll through the streets. They also did a naked lion in the middle of the streets to block traffic, and you can watch it right here. Now, a passerby might go, they're not even protesting, they're all just so fat that they needed to take a nap after biking the entire way to Portland. But no, in fact, they are lying fully nude on a bridge, blocking roads for the illegal aliens. I just want to know, like, what do the illegals think about all of this? Like, they're watching all of this transpire. Are they sitting back in their homes going, oh my God, thank you. We have the best of the best supporting us, fighting for us to stay in this country illegally? Or are they going, oh my God, maybe I should deport myself. Maybe I should download that app and leave because this is so incredibly grotesque and embarrassing. I don't even think I can be in this country anymore. Like maybe these protesters are actually helping out our cause because it is so freaking embarrassing. If I was an illegal alien, I'd be like, get me the hell out of this disgusting, disturbing country. Now, as I'm sure you guys expected, the comments under these videos, I mean, chef's kiss. Chef Andrew Gruel, who's one of my favorites, he said EPA put out an advisory due to the smell in Portland. People thought it was a red tide or decomposing sea life. But no, it was just hairy armpits and genitalia swinging through the streets. Bet you didn't think you would hear me say that this morning. Somebody else said, why is nudity important? Quote, I disagree with what's happening to illegal aliens. Gaze upon my genitalia. Is this some attempt at being European? Basically, Like, we fought that war years ago. We do not want to be part of that. The French women swinging their tits in the streets, protesting God knows what. We don't want that. We are Americans. We throw tea in the water. We are better than that. Our protests are classy. They should be. They're not, apparently. But I do, like, it is a good question. Like, is their angle that they are going to be so grotesque and so inflammatory and shocking that the nudity will make Trump and the Trump admin like change course? Like, Trump's gonna log on to X or Truth Social and see one of these videos and go, oh my God, I'm blinded by overweight buttocks. Like, stop the deportations. Like, is that what you think is happening? That is the only rationality that I can think of. Somebody else commented and said, how Antifa thinks they look, how Antifa actually looks. Yes. Yes. There's no better way to put it. Somebody else said, it is never anyone you'd like to see nude who feels the need to expose themselves publicly. Yeah, I did not see an attractive body in the midst. That's why I thought they were arresting, because they needed the break. Someone else said, do you think if there was a Get Naked for Trump rally, they would still show up? I had to stop and think about that for a whopping 3 seconds. But actually, yes, I think they would show up, because these types of protests, guys, they're more about the virtue signaling act of protesting and the attention-seeking nakedness than the actual cause that they are fighting for. They don't care whether they are doing a naked bike ride for the climate. They don't care whether they're doing a naked lie-in for ICE. They don't really care what the cause is. They just want to be fighting for a cause, and they want to be naked doing it. And so if it was, hey, come out and be naked for Trump, they probably wouldn't even read the for Trump part. They'd be like, great, they're like already halfway declothed walking into the streets. Andy No, who is just so fantastic, he is always on the ground reporting on Antifa. He summed up that fact in a recent tweet where he said that the biking groups that he has covered now for years in Portland, that they are quote unquote woke and misinformed. So they have no idea what's going on in the world or what they are protesting, but they are showing up. They are showing up for the cause, whatever it is, and they are showing up naked. But you know what, guys? I should stop putting words in their mouth. I should stop speaking for them. Let's hear these individuals out in their own words. So this is an excerpt from an NBC article about this protest. And one of the protesters says, quote, "To be naked is to be as vulnerable as you can be," said Elise, a Portland resident who asked that her last name not be used due to privacy concerns. That's what we're saying. We are not afraid. They're not afraid of Donald Trump. They're not afraid of ICE. Therefore, they're going to make us all look at their boobs. Quote, "Our politics are let's care for each other and put that as the most important thing," says Miles Thompson, who was dressed up as a banana costume and carried a trumpet. Quote, "We need to show our humanity to each other." Can we just read that again? This man is saying so this profound thing, our politics is just to care for each other. That's the most important thing. He says that in a banana costume with a trumpet. Yeah, okay, well, let's show humanity to everyone except Trump supporters and everyone we disagree with. That's kind of how that works, right? Because there's an end to your humanity and your decency. We've seen that over the last 5 years, so let's just not pretend that it's anything else. Now, the article goes on, and this is just where the mainstream media just starts mainstream media-ing, if we want to put it that way. The article goes on, and they write, "The tense standoff betrayed what have been mostly peaceful protests characterized by inflatable costumes and, as of Sunday, nudity." Yes, inflatable costumes and nudity. That is what is representing left-wing protests right now. That is fantastic, but also mostly peaceful. Are we still playing that game years later? You think that can still fly, just saying something is mostly peaceful and not having anybody else look into it? Not seeing the myriad of clips and images online from the last 4 months in Portland? Like, we know what has been going on. Like, yes, some of the nude bikers might only be violent in that they are assaulting our eyes, but other protesters have been actively aggressive and violent in Portland. And while you won't see that in the mainstream media, obviously, thank you NBC News, Ground News certainly is covering it. From mostly peaceful media bias to sealed documents, Hollywood cover-ups, and the people profiting off of us believing their version of the truth, it is more difficult than ever to know who to trust and where to look for your news. But I think the Ground News is one of the most powerful tools tackling this issue. And obviously, as you guys know, I'm very intentional about who I choose to partner with. So when I talk about Ground News, it is for a reason. Because unlike other news media platforms, they do not push or suppress information to try to influence your perception. Their app and their website pull the world's perspective on today's biggest issues and stories so that you can see what facts are being covered, what facts are being ignored, and what biases are influencing both. And probably the clearest example of this is their blind spot feed, where you can see what stories are not being covered by both the left and the right. You'll notice how many unbiased outlets actually lead left, and you'll see the stories that they're hoping you will never find. And guys, I partner with Ground News to give you full access to the truth for 40% off. That is only $5 a month for the same Vantage plan that I have been using for the last year when you go to groundnews.com/Brett, or you can scan the QR code that is on the screen. This app is how we hold the powerful accountable. And Good Ranchers wants to hold you accountable as we bring back family dinners, because this fall, Good Ranchers is challenging America to come back to the dinner table. Every Thursday through Thanksgiving, Good Ranchers wants you to take a pause and share a meal with the people that you love. And here is the best part. Every week, one lucky dinner table will win a free Thanksgiving ham just for sharing a photo of your Thursday night dinner on social media. All you have to do is post a picture on your Instagram story, use the hashtag #BackToTheTable, and tag Good Ranchers. And if gathering once a week just feels impossible in this season of life, I totally understand, and that is where Good Ranchers can help you out. Their meat is high quality, 100% American, raised on local farms, and delivered right to your door. Plus, the cuts come pre-portioned and triple trimmed, meaning that you will spend less time prepping and more time eating with the people that you love. And thousands of Cooper Troopers have already made the switch to Good Ranchers over the last 3 years that I've been working with them. And guys, once you experience the quality and the convenience, you will understand why. This is a great company run by great people. You're supporting great American farms. There is no downside. Just visit goodranchers.com to start your subscription and shop America's best meat. Use code Brett to get $40 off plus free meat for life. That is Brett for $40 off and your choice of free meat for life when you subscribe. Goodranchers.com. Let's get back to the table. Now, to get back to something that is less peaceful than family dinners with Good Ranchers, another thing that these protesters have been doing, these mostly peaceful protesters have been doing, instead of just assaulting us, assaulting our eyes, is that some of them organized a laser protest aimed at trying to crash federal ICE helicopters that are coming into Portland. Does that sound mostly peaceful to you, trying to crash a helicopter in your city? No, obviously not. Here is the poster for that. You are invited. Laser tag. Every night for weeks, we are forced to listen to the threatening rhythm of helicopter blades as the federal regime spies on us. The only limit power knows is our refusal to submit. This Saturday, it was this past Saturday, October 11th, you are invited to fight back. All you need is a laser. Leave home. They can see where the laser is coming from. Go to a park, a field, or some other public place, and once the clock strikes 9, unleash your beam at the copter. Mask up. Now let's take a look at this peaceful laser party. Here you go. And this was happening all around Portland on Saturday night. And the mainstream media and, representatives in Oregon and in Portland have the gall to then go on the news and publish articles and say, I don't know what the Trump administration is talking about. I don't know what people are saying on social media. Portland is so lovely. They'll post a photo of a park, an empty park at like 6 a.m. when nobody's there. They've cropped out the homeless people and they're going, oh my, it's so lovely here. There's nothing going on. Meanwhile, this dystopia, this apocalyptic scene was happening at 9 p.m. the night before. Now, this laser tag party did not result in any federal helicopters being grounded. In fact, the only thing that they ended up doing was keep medevac helicopters from being able to get to the hospitals in Portland, specifically OSHU, which is the only academic level 1 trauma center in the state. Just listen to that again. Because of their stupid laser tag party in the sky, medevac helicopters were forced to reroute and divert. They were not allowed to land at the state's only academic level 1 trauma center. And that is the only academic level 1. There is only one other level 1 trauma center in the entire state of Oregon. And these protesters, these, who care about humanity, that just care about other people, they caused that. And the mainstream media still has the gall to say that this was just mostly peaceful. So yeah, I would say it is very dishonest to claim that this is all mostly peaceful, especially when that was happening, and especially when there has been 4 months of violence in Portland leading up to this, because Antifa and these protesters, they have been threatening ICE for months. They have been attacking them. They have been attacking the counter-protesters and journalists, and it has only increased since Trump threatened to bring in the National Guard to deploy them to Portland to clean up the city, like he very successfully did in Washington, D.C. Andy No also posted about this, and he said, as Antifa in Portland are having their comrades dressed in animal costumes to whitewash the serious violent attacks happening on the ICE facility, again, mostly peaceful. It's just animal costumes and nudity. Obese women with their tits out, that's all that's happening. That's what he's saying. Here is a reminder of what they did. Antifa zipped all of the doors and barricaded the building, the ICE building, on June 11th. They then attempted to set the place on fire while dozens of agents were inside. Antifa also brought out bags of rocks to use as projectile weapons. They had rioters illegally stop and redirect drivers on the public road so that they could use the street as a staging ground for violence. And this was all part of discovery evidence that came out at the trial for the Portland woman who sued the city and the police for allowing the loud and riotous violence to continue for months. Now, on top of that, outside of Portland, there has been unprecedented violence against ICE. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago in Dallas, somebody fired into an ICE facility. They have been barricading ICE. They have been threatening them. Government officials have been on the news and on social media saying that we need to incite violence against ICE, saying that they are violent, that they are fascist. No wonder this is happening. And I say that just to remind you guys, because I know that it is easy to go on social media and you will see violent videos of, federal agents fighting back and going through these protesters, and you might not know, what happened prior to this to spark this kind of response. People are being thrown to the ground, they're being arrested. I promise you, there is months and months of violence that has predated that behavior. We are in the find out stage of F around and find out. That is why you are seeing federal agents act in this way. That is why you are seeing protesters be dragged out of the streets, because federal agents are being threatened and they are being attacked. And again, all of this goes back to ICE. All of it goes back to mass deportations, which I think a lot of us Trump voters knew was probably going to be the biggest point of contention in Trump's second term. But Antifa, unfortunately, is not the only group who is angry with Trump's Department of Homeland Security. Many Trump voters, even the podcasters who elevated and endorsed Trump during his campaign, are turning on him because of ICE. Because they're seeing these videos on social media, they're seeing the protesters be dragged out of the streets, they're seeing people be thrown into vans and deported, and they are uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable with what mass deportations actually means on a realistic level, what that actually means in practice. And in a recent episode of his show, Joe Rogan even said this, and I think we need to talk about it.
Let's just talk about the immigration thing. The way it looks is horrific. When you're just arresting people in front of their kids and just normal, regular people that have been here for 20 years, that everybody who has a heart can't get along with that.
No.
Everybody who has a heart sees that and goes, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be the only way to do this.
Right.
Because you have to think, look, yeah, we have to have a border. Yes, it should have been secure. Yes, they should make sure you know who everybody is before they get in.
Yeah.
But when people been here for 20 years, come on, man. That's crazy. Let's find a way. If they've been productive members of society for 20 years, no criminal record, they worked the entire time, they paid taxes, find them a pathway to citizenship.
So I just want to respond to Rogan here because I genuinely feel like he is smarter than this. He obviously is smarter than this. This is just his, toxic empathy speaking, his emotions speaking. And obviously, anybody with any kind of heart is going to have part of them that feels a tinge of discomfort or empathy when they watch these types of videos, when they know what is happening with ICE on a, on a day-to-day level. What is happening when they are going into cities and they are deporting people? But guys, this is what we voted for. There are articles that are coming out now where these podcasters are saying this isn't what I voted for. I'm sorry. What did you think mass deportations was? This was something that was spoken about every single day. Everybody was in favor of, basically securing our border and cleaning out our country. That's just a very matter-of-fact way to say it, but we were in favor of this. This was something that Trump talked about on a day-to-day basis. This is what we voted for. And I would just pose the question, is there a different way to do this? Do you have another solution that you would believe is more humane, that would have more heart in it? Do you have another way to shut down our border and make sure that we remove people that are here illegally, that are draining our resources and often harming innocent American legal citizens? Like, I'm sorry, but these individuals, they had the ability to self-deport when Trump went into office. He did not just start going into cities and pulling people out of their homes and pulling them out of Home Depot parking lots. No, he said, here's an app. You have 30 days, however long, you can go self-deport. If you know that you were here legally, you can go on out, you can deport yourself. But a lot of people didn't do that. They didn't do it. And so now, because we gave him a mandate, because he ran on mass deportations, he is forced to do something else. And you're talking about people who have been here for 20 plus years. I mean, if they didn't become legal then why now? They had 20 years. And just because, I think this is the main issue, just because somebody has successfully evaded the law for 20 years, just because they have been successful in doing something illegal for 20 years, does not mean that they now, 20 years later, get to avoid the responsibilities or consequences because somebody is in charge who wants to handle the situation. Like, that is not how the world works. You do not get to commit a crime 20 years ago, and because they didn't catch you, it doesn't mean that now you don't have to face the consequences. That simply is not how the world works. And yes, obviously, like I said, it's going to feel uncomfortable. This is going to make people's heart hurts when families are torn apart, when people have to deport and go home. And it sucks that many people did come into this country illegally under presidents who didn't care and left our borders wide open. It sucks that they paid taxes and created a life in a country and are now having to go home and be deported. But this is what needs to happen to get our country back on track. And again, it is also what Donald Trump ran on. And the lack of security and permanency that these illegal aliens are facing is what they signed up for when they came here illegally. They should have known that that was the case. Every other country around the world has incredibly strict immigration laws, way stricter than ours. You do not just get to show up in Hungary and go, oh, well, I'm just gonna stay. No! You will get removed. You will get kicked out. It is only in America in the past 20 years or so when you have been able to just hop over a wall and show up and use our resources and be able to stay as long as you want. But those days are over. We are getting back on track. And so I guess my gentle question would be like, what did you think mass deportations was going to look like? Like vibes? That's the joke that everybody says. Like, did you think mass deportations was just like vibes and essays? Like, that was a campaign promise. It is one that Donald Trump is delivering on every single day, one that much of his base wishes that he was actually being even more aggressive on. Like, genuinely, did you think the deportations were just like fluffy rainbows, were just like an idea? Because based on every opportunity that he has given people to self-deport, I actually think that his team has done all of this in an incredibly humane way. And again, he's not the only president, certainly not the only Republican that has done mass deportation. So let's be consistent here. Let's be honest about what we voted for. And let's be honest about the fact that maybe you didn't really consider what this was actually going to look like. And meanwhile, the opposite side of the aisle is shooting into ICE facilities, shooting at federal agents who are just trying to do their jobs, setting buildings on fire, trying to crash innocent helicopters, and worst of all, making us look at their obese, fat tits. So I'm sorry, but I personally know what side of the issue I would rather be on.